so excited to have you on the show today. And good morning to you. I know you're out on the West Coast, so it's a little bit early. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. How are you today?
Thank you. I am doing great. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really excited to be able to share what has happened for me. So that maybe it might help other people. And I'm thrilled to have this avenue to do it. So thank you for providing that avenue.
Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it is a pleasure to have you. And anytime somebody's vulnerable and willing to share their story about clean intermittent fasting, I want to hear it. I want the whole world to hear it. So I am so ready to hear how and when was it that you discovered clean intermittent fasting?
First of all, I just want to say thanks again for having me, and also for saying clean so many times, because that for me, I was really lucky, and I learned that right from the go-get. Like, it has to be clean. So, but a lot of people don't start that way. So I love that you keep mentioning that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I tried to emphasize clean. Yes. It's great when we start out that way, when we start out clean. So go ahead. And you discovered clean intermittent fasting when and how?
So in 2020, July 18th, I actually had been having migraines consistently over the for a long time, since I was 18, and I'm 51 now. So I had migraines from the time I was 18 until about the time I started intermittent fasting. And I had been going to a doctor who was amazing and said, hey, you should try massage, acupuncture, any of these other things that might help you. And you should also go ahead and fill this prescription. And I went ahead and filled the prescription because I didn't know what to do, because they were so bad, I would have to take the medication. Right. And I was just tired of it. And I was at a point where I was going to take medication every day. The medication that I was taking was medication. When I got the migraine, I would take it. But we were at the point where I was going to have to take it every day. And I really didn't want to do that. I am a pretty, I make some wild choices, but I'm a pretty natural person. So putting something in my body every day did not sound appealing at all. And I had tried the massage, and I was also doing physical therapy. So I was
You were doing all the things.
I really was, or I thought I was. I didn't know about fasting, so I thought I was doing all the right things. So I actually was researching and praying, how do I get rid of these migraines so I don't have to take medication every day? And I came across how people had experienced fasting helping alleviate migraines. And I literally thought, that's stupid. That won't work. Why would you want to not eat? Sometimes when I don't eat, I get a migraine. That can't be real.
It seems counterproductive at first, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So I kept praying, and I kept coming across it. And I just thought, this is so weird. So I kept reading about it and somehow connected all the dots with Jen Stevens' Fast, Feast, Repeat. Now, I've looked back to see if any of those are connected, and I can't find anything. So I don't know how I ran across the two, but ordered her book on July 18th of 2020, downloaded it, read it, within 2 days. But I started that moment because I knew, oh, wait. So I either put this medicine in my body, which medicine is good for some things, but at this point I didn't want to do that. Or I tried this other thing, which I think is ridiculous, but why wouldn't you try it?
Yeah.
Right.
Why not? Yeah.
And so I started that moment. I looked at the clock and said, okay, I quit eating at whatever time it was. I don't recall, and I went right into 20 hours of fasting. I didn't think I was going to. I really didn't. I thought, okay, I'll try 16.
Yeah.
But I just thought, okay, well, I'll just drink some more water, and then I'll see if I can make it another half hour. And I realized it had been an hour, and then I just kept extending it to about 20 hours, and just went right into it. And clean fasted the whole time. I never experienced a dirty fast, so I don't know the difference. But I assume after listening to the stories that there's a big difference. So
huge difference. So you started out in July of 2020, and you lost about 35 pounds to start. Is that correct?
Yes, it did take me a year.
Yeah.
So I actually was on Graham's podcast, The Fasting Highway.
Me too. Yeah. I love Graham.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome.
He's great. And everybody that's on there, every time you listen to it, you learn something new and something different and something really cool. So I love listening to the podcasts of people talking about their experiences. But the day I was on it was the day before I met my goal weight. So it
Amazing.
was
What a
really,
cool time, right? Like you're on a podcast and the next day you hit your goal weight. That's so cool.
and I didn't expect to lose weight, by the way, doing this. I just was trying to get rid of migraines. So,
And wait, I love that you came for the health benefits and the weight loss was just a nice side effect because usually it's the other way around. Everybody comes for the weight loss. We stick around for the health benefits. I love that your migraines have gone away. Have you experienced other migraines since you started fasting or have they ceased completely?
well, to put this into perspective, prior to IF, I would lose essentially 2 to 6 days a month to migraines. So I would have like a day where I didn't feel very good, and then I would have the migraine, which could last for 2 to 4 days. And then I would have what I call the migraine hangover, which is 2 to 3 days. So that's a lot of days a month, just not feeling good. So between July 20th, when I started, and about November, I had one full day migraine and another half day somewhere in there. But in that 4 months, I really didn't experience that many. And then between then and now, which is a year, almost 2 years, November will be 2 years since my last one, I have had two, and they were triggered by red wine. So
Yeah, that's interesting. You're going to bring me into my next question because to just finish that off, that's an incredibly impressive difference between having 6 migraine days a month. I can sympathize. I used to get migraines as well to like one every, what did you say, two in a year or something like that? Like
oh yeah, I mean, I've had headaches, but they are nothing
sure,
like a
nothing
migraine.
like
So,
before. Yeah, yeah. Because
right.
migraines, as you know, last several days, and then you have the migraine hangover. So, to go into my next question, which is regarding alcohol consumption, you said red wine. I used to be a huge wine connoisseur. And after I started fasting, I've kind of learned that I'm not so much anymore. How about you? How do you feel about wine and alcohol consumption in general now as opposed to pre intermittent fasting?
I do love a cocktail. I love wine. I have learned how to do it in my fasting life. But at the very beginning, I think it's always interesting to find out what people did at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I just ate whatever. I didn't even care. So I had my normal alcohol at night, if I wanted to do that, and I just ate whatever. Over the course of time, I've realized that wine is not my friend. I still love it, but it's not my friend, and it's not the best avenue for me to get from point A to point Z. So while I still drink, I'm pretty picky about when I do it now.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
in my window, in my eating window, obviously, but I'm pretty picky about how often.
Yeah, and I feel like the quality like really matters now, right? Like you're just not going for any old wine or any old cocktail. Like it's got to be high quality, really good, and definitely window worthy. So
It has to be window worthy, yes.
yes, absolutely, it's window worthy and something that is good on your stomach is that's what I've kind of found. Wine is not my friend either anymore, so I can totally empathize. Although I do kind of crave it sometimes. Um, so before you found intermittent fasting, you weren't trying to lose weight, but you were trying to get healthier. You had the migraines. Were you trying to? I know that a lot of people, and then Jen goes into this in her book, yo-yo dieting, uh, going from product to product, from crazy crash diet to crazy crash diet. Did you ever experience that in your life, Beth?
I did. So I was 109 pounds, 114 pounds until I had kids.
Okay.
So high school, as a matter of fact, I can remember going to donate blood and they wouldn't allow me to donate blood my senior year because I was 109 pounds and not 110 pounds.
That was me in the fifth grade.
Well, I am only 5'2" and a little bit of hope, I like to say. So I'm pretty small in stature.
Same.
So I hadn't experienced any real weight issues until I had children. And I think I just was eating off their plates all the time. I don't know.
It happens.
But then I started the yo-yo dieting because I couldn't figure out how to get the weight off. So in probably 2001,
Mhm.
I started looking at all kinds of things from, I don't know if you remember Susan Powder
Oh,
to Susan
yes.
Summers stuff to
Yes.
all those dieting books. I have some really crazy ones too that I meant to look up before I got on here, but can't remember the names of the books. But I mean, some really great stuff. Most of it basically said eat real food.
Yeah. Yeah. But eat it 6 times a day.
But eat it, yeah, 6 times a day. So
Right.
I tried keto, and
Mm-hmm.
I do love keto, but I don't like the restriction of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers.
What do you think about Nutrisystem? I'm curious because like I've looked at that food in person and I'm like, how? Yeah.
I was pretty desperate to lose weight. And
Yeah.
so I thought, okay, it's going to work. I just have to eat whatever they send me. And it is not food.
It
I
can't
think
be.
it's cardboard.
It might be.
It's decorated as food. It was, not great. It was not a good experience. And it was expensive, very expensive.
So much
which is
money.
Which is great about fasting. It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't cost you a dang thing. And you can listen to podcasts and be inspired. You can go into support groups on Facebook to be inspired. It's just so beautiful and it's so freeing. So
it's so freeing.
It is. It's the best freedom ever. It's just like, I want to shout it from the mountaintops every single day because that's how passionate I am. And I know you are too. I can see it in your eyes. You're so passionate about intermittent fasting, and you're such a wonderful contributor to our community. Getting into community, Thanks. You're welcome, and thank you, because it takes a lot to go on there and be like, hey, I'm going to lay my cards out and try to inspire somebody else. That takes a lot of courage. So
I appreciate that.
How important do you feel community is to this lifestyle? What do you feel about that?
That is a great question, because when I first started, I was nervous about people asking questions about me not eating. I thought they're going to think I'm starving myself. And like I thought at the beginning, that's stupid. That triggers your migraines. Mm-hmm. I really felt like people would judge me for that. And so I was quiet about it until I started my Instagram account, which was in November of 2020. And I said, you know what? People need to know about this. This is, first of all, it's free. Secondly, I got rid of migraines. Third, I am losing weight. Who thought that this would happen? Fourth, I am like pretty much free of the diet mentality. It took a while, but I was getting to that point where inside my head, I wasn't always saying, should you eat that? Is that something you should have right now? Do you think you should eat that? Is that a carb? Those kinds of things. Yeah. So I really feel like community is actually critical, because I would not have been where I ended up being without listening to all of the podcasts, getting into the Facebook groups, getting into Jen's community, finding people like you on Instagram. Those types of things really helped me to not only open up about what I was doing myself and now help other people, but to truly understand how to understand my body and how fasting is working for me. At
1000%. I could not agree more. It's really having a good community to fall back on is absolutely pertinent in this lifestyle, because like you said, not everyone is going to be as open-minded about this, because you've heard comments, I've heard comments, but at the end of the day, I saw so many benefits just like you did, and I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but try to spread the word. And I've had some backlash, but I just keep pushing forward, because I know I honestly feel like everyone should fast. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, depending on your health, you should be fasting in some way. It's great for your health, if anything else. You have grown children, correct? Like, they are grown and out of your house now, or are they?
Yes, they are 22, 24, and 26. Actually, soon to be 23, 25, and 27. Yeah.
So that's amazing. So you are in a stage of life where you're like traveling a lot, right? Like, you're always kind of like going around. I follow you on Instagram, obviously, and like I'm always so like envious. I'm like, where is she now? That's so awesome. Like, so you're a world traveler. and you're
Oh, that's so sweet. No,
fasting. how do you
we do
how do
travel a
you
lot.
how do you fit it into your life when you're on vacation? Like, how does that work? Do you just open your window a little bit earlier, close it a little later? Like, do you stick to a rigid schedule? How do you work it in?
This is such a good question because I think it's important to remember that I started during COVID. So 2020 was the center of COVID. Everybody was, if they were doing things, they were doing it outside. And we live in Oregon, so we felt it a little bit differently than maybe those on the East Coast.
Yes.
So we actually was pleasantly surprised with how, quote, easy it was. I don't use that term anymore because it's actually simple, not easy. But at the time, because we weren't socializing aggressively, it seemed fairly easy. So when we did start to go on to conferences and meeting with other people in other states and countries, I was nervous. I was so scared. How am I going to do this? What are people going to think? I'm just going to sit there with my coffee or water and people aren't going to say anything. They didn't say anything.
Nobody cares.
They didn't say anything. Nobody cares.
Nobody's noticing anything.
No. So for conferences and things, I do a little bit differently. I know that their food is not going to be great. And so I wait till the window where the food shows up, which is usually dinner time when we're on our own and we're going to a fancy restaurant.
There you go.
And if there's drinking afterwards, sometimes I will choose to drink. But other times we use the little trick where you put soda water or sparkling water in a glass. And even if they put a lime on it, I don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I don't stress about that. And I just drink my sparkling water and nobody knows.
Right. It kind of feels like you're having a cocktail, right? And it kind of like fills that social void of holding something to be sipping on, but you got your sparkling water. I've totally, that's awesome. I love that.
Oh, yeah, nobody knows. They don't even care.
They don't care, honestly.
And you feel like you're part of the party. So
exactly.
Now, when we do go on vacation, Adam and I work a lot while we're on vacation, but when we do go on vacation, I do just open my window a little bit later. So I will try to do somewhere 16, 17 hours of fasting, 6 or 7 hour window. And I just don't stress. If I go a little bit later, the next day, periodically, I have a 15-hour window, but I try to, for me specifically, I have to remember that it could trigger a migraine because I've tested it and I know.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of days where I tested that.
Yeah, I mean, protein is so important and getting that in and making sure that like all of your nutritional needs are met, especially when you get the migraines, it's super, super important. I like to always get a handle on how everybody feels about exercising in this life. So in my weight loss journey, I loved to exercise and I was a gym rat before intermittent fasting. I'm wondering, do you love to work out currently? And if so, what do you do?
Well, I found the vibration plate. Life Pro. Love it. Love this thing. It is so much fun. It's so easy. And maybe I shouldn't call it exercise, but it's super fun.
I have been dying to get one. And I'm so glad I'm talking to you about this right now. Because
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they are not overly expensive. Yeah. I do use Life Pro. I don't know if I can mention that on.
No, you can. Yeah.
Podcast. Okay. Okay. So I use Life Pro. I have had so much fun with it. Because people see me post it on my Instagram account all the time. And they'll say, what are you talking about? What is this Life Pro thing that you're talking about? So several people have come to me and asked, and I've said, this is what I do. Yeah. And they've started using it, and they also have had great experiences with it and love it. Actually, somebody just messaged me last night and said, holy cow, this thing is going to kick my rear end. And she had only used it the first time. I said, oh my gosh, did you go like whole hog right away? Well, she used the jogging for 15 minutes, the jogging part of it for 15 minutes. I was like, oh my, okay, too much to start. Yeah, start slow because it really is, it's aggressive. Yeah, it seems ridiculous, but it's aggressive. So I do use that.
That is awesome. So you've got your vibration plate. Is there anything like, are you a walker? Are you a jogger? Anything like that?
So when I first started, I didn't do any of that. And I just walked like I normally had. So I love to walk. I use a trampoline now. I'm a little mini trampoline that I like to jump on. I've had it for over 20 years. I've used it for that long.
It's my kids,
Um,
and sometimes I get on it.
oh, it's so much fun. So I like things that are fun and entertaining.
Me
So,
too.
and the vibration plate. Prior to that, I don't love the gym, but I had found a trainer that I absolutely adored. And so I went and did that for 4 years,
Okay.
on and off.
Okay.
And at that point, I did get to my goal. My goal weight was 123, and I got there doing a ton of what he does, which is a combination of CrossFit and cardio, which is super fun, but it's very expensive, and it was really hard on my body.
It's extremely hard.
I was doing it 6 days a week and eating keto. And I finally got to my goal weight. And I only stayed there for a split second. Actually, I only got to 124. Stayed there for like 2 days and bounced right back up.
Right. And how deprived did you feel when you got there? Like, did you feel like you wanted to eat like 10 cupcakes when you got there? Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just comes right back.
Right.
It's insane.
And this lifestyle is so simple. You just open your window, you eat, and you close it. And
it's so easy, eat. So sustainable. I mean, we're here for the long haul.
Yes.
So your husband, is he a faster as well?
In August 18th, he started, actually. Okay. So a month after I did, he started fasting with me. He does fast with me. We share an office. He's over there dancing around. I'm like, yeah, I do fast.
So heavy.
So he did start fasting with me. He lost over 30 pounds.
Wow, that's awesome.
But he has gained it back, but he does not like what I did is I was like, okay, I need to troubleshoot this. What's happening?
Yeah.
I didn't regain anything, but I did troubleshoot. Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to do alternate day fasting? Do I need to do modified alternate day fasting? Do I need to do 23 and 1? Do I need a bigger eating window? Do I need to go to, 17 and 7? Do I need to eat in the morning? So I tried to troubleshoot it, and he has decided he's not going to troubleshoot it, but he still eats the same way that I do. And
sounds similar to my husband, honestly.
He has gained about 20 pounds back, but he still looks svelte and cool, so I'm good with it.
Hey, you know what? It makes it easier for you to eat at the same time anyways, and it makes it easier for the family as a whole. So
it absolutely does. And I think it would, if he troubleshot what he was doing, he would figure it out, but he's like, it's not important to me. So, and he didn't see the same huge benefits that I did. Like, my allergies went away so I could hear better. Wow. And I'm not constantly saying, what, which is so annoying.
Oh my, that's bad.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It was so bad. I thought I had hearing loss, Michelle.
Yeah, no, my son had hearing loss from actually being like constantly having ear infections. It came back. But yeah, you can totally get hearing loss from having fluid constantly in your ears.
Yes, I used to have to pop my ears all the time. Oh, God. To have any of that. It's such a relief.
That is a relief. That's amazing. So that's a total win, non-scale victory. And your migraines, what else have you seen off the scale that you love to celebrate and talk about?
One of the best things is great sleep.
Yeah.
Which was elusive before. At best, I would wake up at 3 a.m.
That's me right now. So, perimenopause here.
Oh yeah, I'm experiencing that perimenopause thing. So I have done a few other things to tweak it, and it's getting a little bit better again. So my sleep got really great when perimenopause hit, and now it's kind of like, ugh. Yeah. But I've done a few things to make it better. Okay. But the sleep still is better than it was.
That's awesome.
Prior to.
Huge win.
Huge. And getting up in the morning, no one would talk to me. I was such a grouchy pants. So grouchy.
Yeah.
Even my kids knew, don't talk to mom.
Yeah.
Don't talk to her. So, but that's not a thing anymore. I'm actually pleasant when I get up, and 7:15 was like normally when I would get up, and I would have to like pry myself out of bed, but I'm getting up between 6:30 and 7:15 now without issue, which is huge for me.
Yeah.
I mean, even my parents were like, I'm sorry, you're a morning person? We didn't even know that would be a thing for you.
You're like, who are you?
Yeah, crazy non-scale victory.
Oh,
crazy.
So crazy. I've heard that a lot, that it helps people sleep. I'm still sitting here waiting, but I've never been a good sleeper.
So the interesting thing is that since it helped my sleep, I don't know if the intermittent fasting is what helped me with the morning or if it's the good sleep.
Could be both.
It could be both. And speaking of sleep, I've never really remembered my dreams before. Now, often I remember my dreams and they're pretty vibrant, which is so much fun.
That's so
exciting.
Cool and interesting. I've not heard that one. That's a new one and very, very cool.
Could be the good sleep. I don't know.
I mean, I'm here for the good sleep. I am so envious. I wish that everyone has this side effect because sleep on its own is so important. And I think we kind of downplay how important sleep is. And the more you get of it and the more well rested you are, the lower your cortisol is and the easier your fasts are. So, and the easier it is for your metabolism to speed up and for the weight to come off.
So many good benefits.
There's so many benefits.
Fasting definitely prompted for me the sleep thing, and I wish it worked that way for everybody, but everybody has their own journey.
Oh, of course. Of course. It's like, it's so crazy to hear the spectrum of these non-scale victories, especially. I mean, weight loss is one thing. It's always impressive when you hear anybody losing weight and being successful keeping it off. That's
keeping it off.
But like when you hear these other stories of just like, my migraines went away, my psoriasis went away, or whatever it is, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, these are like chronic conditions that are like almost impossible sometimes to get rid of. And
the doctor will say that about some of these things.
Well, they'll just throw pills at you. That's what mine did. Or just like test me for, no, we'll do a blood test here, blood test. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just your age.
I hate that.
And never mind the fact that you're obese, you know, like I was in the obese category for sure, but not one doctor ever mentioned weight. So I find it interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I actually found out.
That's interesting to me.
It is. It's interesting. I started to do a little digging and I found out that, I don't know how true this is, but in med school, like nutrition isn't very heavily weighted and they don't really spend a whole lot of time learning about nutrition, which is very confusing to me. But I digress. I'm going to ask one more thing because I think this is super important. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I just eat whatever I want in my fasting window, and that's why I fast. And while I do believe in that partially, I think that what you eat makes a huge difference. Has your diet changed since you fast? Have been like fat adapted and into the lifestyle? Have you changed anything about what you're eating? Do you omit anything now, or are you kind of like all over the place?
So all over the place is probably the best, most accurate answer. But in the very beginning, because I did not believe that this would work, thank the Lord it worked. I was like, I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing what I eat. I'm not changing my exercise. As a matter of fact, I'm only going to walk now. I'm not even going to worry about exercise. So in the very beginning, I really, truly went crazy. So I'd have the 4 hours of eating and I would go to Dairy Queen.
Oh, wow.
And I would, it was bad. I would, And some days I would drink my crazy Starbucks coffee and then we would go to Dairy Queen or whatever fast food I wanted.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I did everything in the first couple of months. I'd say the first 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it just stopped tasting great. I remember getting a caramel macchiato from Starbucks and I thought, this kind of tastes chemical like.
Oh, it's that appetite correction taking place.
I think so. Graham asked me about appetite correction. I was like, I don't know if I have that yet. And I was a year in at that point, and I didn't really know that I had it. And I think that's kind of what was happening. Now, to this day, I still treat myself sometimes to, something fancy that I liked prior.
Sure.
And some days I will eat all of the chips.
Me too.
And I will eat all of the good things. And then the next day I'm like, oh, that's why I don't do that, because now I am starving. I don't feel great.
Struggling.
It's just a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
So I do better now with just making sure that I'm eating enough protein, enough of the good things so that I feel really good. And then I usually will have something like a frozen fruit or fruit and cottage cheese or yogurt is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
So kind of I close my window out with that usually.
Sure. Okay.
So I'll start with cheese and usually
are you
no
still
crackers,
doing like,
but
are you like on a 24 still, or are you kind of mixing it up now that you've reached your goals and everything?
I'm all over the place now. I don't worry about it as much. I do love to get in a 16-hour fast, but prefer an 18-hour fast. I feel best with an 18 to 20-hour fast.
Yeah.
So that's where I try and stick, but it
So
doesn't always work.
yeah, like it's like you kind of fall into this place where you feel like, oh, I feel best in this range. And it seems like, I mean, I'm the same way. I feel best with 18 hours ish, you know. Do you use a timer or any sort of app to help you with your time or anything like that? I know some of us are like super into our timers, and people are like, I don't use that stuff, you know, it's not for me.
Use the clock. No, I like data. So I use 2 apps. I use Window and I use the Life app.
Okay.
So I like to know how long my window is, but I also like to know how long my fast is. And I feel like together they give me what I need. Yeah. So, and I use Happy Scale for my weight.
I actually, I've never used Happy Scale. I love the idea behind it because it's not just focusing on a number. But I think that, you know, for anyone out there who's wondering, do I have to weigh every day? No, you don't have to. Jen mentions in her book, you could go ahead and do a weekly weigh, you know, an every day and then take the weekly average. Um, I had to break up with my scale, unfortunately. So, but since then, I've noticed things are a little bit tighter. So got to rein it back in. But I think that through fasting, we kind of know when to do that and when to make that tweak. Did you experience any plateaus on your way?
I did, and I did. That was what I was talking about with tweaking earlier. Is it was really important for me to make sure that the diet brain didn't kick in aggressively. I still have it sometimes, but I didn't want it to kick back in, so I had to be kind of careful about that. And as I experienced a plateau, I also wanted to be cognizant of the fact that I still have this fear of my migraines coming back. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to trigger one by doing that. So, so what I decided to do was, okay, I'm experiencing this plateau, which really wasn't a plateau, by the way. I was losing slower because remember, I was losing about a half a pound, not even that, a month. Is that right? Just over half a pound a month.
So
I mean, 35 pounds lost in 1 year is not a lot, right?
No, but
so it's slow. Yeah. So when it did slow down and when I felt like I was on a plateau, I really wasn't. If you look back at Happy Scale, I really wasn't. Mm-hmm. But I chose to do ADF or modified ADF a couple of times, and a couple of times I did 23-1. Okay. And all of those worked to just sort of kick me into losing, quote, faster, which wasn't that fast, but it did. We have there's all kinds, like, there turtles out there. There's people who lose 10 pounds in the first week. I mean, like, honestly, everybody's so different. The amount of healing we have to do before the weight is released and whatnot, it's also all over the place. So it's not like a one size fits all plan. So I love that you found what works for you, and you look incredible, by the way. Like, you don't look a day over 40, to be honest. Thanks.
You're beautiful. I mean,
thank you.
So I just want to say thank you again for coming on, Beth, because I know we had a little bit trouble connecting, and
sorry about that. Yeah.
No, my kid got sick that day, so it actually ended up working out just fine. So thank you again, because this is not easy, coming on and sharing your story and being so vulnerable. So thank you for being on and supporting the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you and what you do. And I just, like you said, want to shout it from the mountaintops. This is great for everybody. It's just a different journey.
It is. Thank you, Beth, so much. I'll talk to you so soon.
Thank you.